as many of you know, I'm sort of all in on the idea of open development, and that's why I do all these developer diaries, and I'm active on the forum and everything, because I think that from working with the community, it can make what we're doing better, and it's a much better approach than putting our head in the sand and hoping for the best. And certainly I can say that Neverending Nightmares would have been a significantly worse game had I not been able to engage with the community through the forums and Kickstarter and everything. But I'm at a sort of a difficult point in what I'm working on, where we're trying out a few different ideas, and we're things aren't quite taking shape at this point. So it's made it a little more challenging to talk about what we're doing, because firstly, I don't want to say, oh, we're working in XYZ, get people excited about XYZ, and then say, just joking, we're just, prototyping or exploring that aspect, that idea, which, I mean, it can be tough, to say, hey, I'm doing a gameplay prototype, and certainly if you look at, like, Notch, he had some problems with this, where he said, hey, I'm doing this thing, I forget, it was like OX010C or something like that, his spaceship game, and then he said, hey, I'm working on this, and then maybe then he said, no, it's not quite working out, I'm going to try something else, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, this game is canceled, but I suspect it's not really like this same as a game cancellation. If you look at like the Double Fine Fortnite jams or whatever, like those game ideas, they were ideas that they were exploring, and then they decided not to build out the full game for whatever reason, or maybe they're just shelving it and are going to come back to it later. But that's sort of a difficult thing, is deciding when to be open, when something is early and you're not quite sure what shape it'll take. And I think this is especially difficult for games like I'm trying to make things that are aren't mechanic-based games, because the thing is that I can't, say, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is where we're at, because, it may spoil the game for everyone, right? If I say, here's the narrative arc that I'm thinking about, and here's the themes that I want to explore, and here's the setting and stuff, I think it's, it will detract from what I'm working on, as well as, if we announce the themes and the setting and the ideas, I think it'll steal a little thunder. Should we, I imagine we'll want to do a big press push once we have, like, a name for the game, or, in a trailer and some screenshots, because right now, our build of one of our things that we're experimenting with is just like assets from the previous game glued together, some random concepts and art just thrown in, and I mean, it looks like a total mess, because it is, and that's something you have to do in development, especially if your game is not purely mechanic focused, because certainly I've played indie games of other developers where it's pretty cool mechanic, it's enjoyable, it's just not, the art is not very good, it's all programmer art, and then they're able to drop in completely new, really impressive art, which is a cool thing you can do with a mechanic focused game is the fundamental game can still be entertaining without the art, but for us, the art and the music and the sound design is so important to creating the atmosphere that we're looking for, and so that's definitely a difficulty of creating an atmospheric game, and specifically a horror game, because I think like even with a game maybe that's more jump scare based or isn't quite as atmospheric or something, you'd still run into the problem that it's probably not going to be scary until you have the music and sound and characters. And so it's definitely a challenge, and certainly it's a challenge from the perspective of open development, because I don't know what I can say specifically that will keep people excited about what I'm doing and working on without revealing something that I would later regret saying. And certainly I'm always conservative in that aspect. Someone found if you look through the forum, someone put together a screenshot where they put spoilers over everything, because there was some live streaming thing where I kept telling Joe that everything he was trying to say was a spoiler when maybe it wasn't. But I think that's a challenge, and I don't know for a fact exactly, but the cause for this, but certainly I think there's been a little less buzz on the forum as of late, and I think a little bit of it's probably my fault. I haven't done as many developer diaries lately as I had hoped with Christmas break, and then I feel like I've been playing catch up on everything and trying to get everything to work out everything, all set and ready. But certainly I'm trying to, engage and hold on to that community that I think we've worked really hard to build, because as I mentioned earlier, I think that community is a valuable resource, and certainly if we do another Kickstarter again, which I imagine we will, we'll probably get we'll hopefully get some new members to the community, probably some different members. I would like to think that everyone who is into Neverending Nightmares would be interested in sort of whatever we do next, but I don't think that's a guarantee, because we're trying to do something a little different, and obviously that will have a bit different appeal. But anyway, there's no real summary to this developer diary. It's just I wanted to discuss the challenges of open development, especially as it relates to what I'm doing and whatnot. Whereas I think definitely, certainly, if you're developing sort of a very mechanics focused game, something simple and has a really tight core gameplay loop, you can always add on to it and really engage and do updates. So to some extent, I'm almost envious of developers who are able to do sort of an early access style game, because I think that's, a cool thing to do and a cool way to work. Although certainly it can be a challenging way to work. If you look at Space-Based DF9, where, they said, hey, this is the game we want it to be, and then it doesn't make financial sense to take the game to that point. And I think that's an inherent risk of doing something on early access as opposed to doing something on like Kickstarter, whereas Kickstarter we say here's where we want to be, here's the money we need, and we either get that money or we don't, and you know, then we can work from there. Whereas certainly if you're doing something like on early access and that's your funding model, then your future revenue is question mark, and that's scary. And even planning our next steps from, you know, dealing with Neverending Nightmares is scary because we don't know how much the game will sell over the next year, and certainly it's not sold well enough to the point where, you know, we're sitting on like a year's worth of development time and we can, you know, breathe easy and then worry about it then. It's definitely something that I worry about. But anyway, certainly it's an exciting time to be a game developer with all these different avenues available to, you know, getting your game out there early and showing it to your community and listening to their feedback. So anyway, thanks for watching.